Hey guys, this is Emily of Planted and Planted from the Ambassador team here today. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I make these travel memory spreads in my travel journal. I basically use a collection of little memorabilia and pamphlets that I collect throughout a trip. I also use some washi tape, as you can see, some photos that I take and then I print out on my printer, and little magazine cutouts, all kinds of things that go into this. So before we get started and I show you how I made these spreads, I'm going to show you a few that I've made in the past just so you can kind of get an idea of how these look. So this was a trip that I took to Florida in 2020. You can see it's just kind of like a snapshot of the whole trip. I have some stickers, some receipts, and a few photos. It's not very complicated. It's just kind of pulling together a few elements. And then I also have one in my 2022 journal from a trip that we took to Colorado. It's very similar, like stickers from a few businesses that I collected. You can see our plane tickets right here, just random memorabilia. And you'll see when I'm making these, I'm really just kind of throwing things together. Like there's really not a whole lot of rhyme or reason. There is another one that I did in here from a similar trip that we took most recently, but this one was last year to North Carolina. Again, same elements. There's washi tape, photos, stickers, little like captions written in. So this is just kind of an example of how I've made these in the past. The one for today is going to be a little bit different just because I'm working with a smaller size, but I still really like how it came out. So let's get into some of the supplies that I'm going to be using to make these spreads. This is a B6 dot grid notebook from Archer and Olive. I'm using it as my travel journal to plan out our trips and record memories. You are definitely going to want some sort of scissors to cut out the pamphlets and pictures, and then also some sort of tape or glue to add things to the spread. I like using some alphabet stamps to add some pizzazz to my spreads. This is also from Archer and Olive. And I also use some markers or pens for these spreads. Today I decided on the Retro Road Trip and Sunset Breeze calligraphs from the Summer 2023 Archer and Olive launch because I really love the palettes of both of these. I also like putting washi tape in these spreads. This is just an assortment of washi tapes also from the Summer 2023 launch, and I never quite know exactly which ones I'm going to use going in. I just kind of decide on the spot, so I just grab a few of my favorites. And then most importantly, you're going to want to have some sort of random paper-related memorabilia from your trip. I get in the habit of just collecting these on every trip. There's like guides from gas stations, extra menus, the bags sometimes have logos on them, pamphlets, stickers, all kinds of things. And I also keep the receipts and stickers in the back of my journal here. And I recommend just grabbing some of these whenever you see them on a trip while you're traveling. A lot of them are free or super cheap, and it's just a really great way to capture your trip in a memory journal. I also try to take lots of pictures whenever we're traveling. I basically just copy and paste them into a Word doc that I print out on my home printer. And also if there's any logos that you don't have that you want to use, you can copy and paste those from the internet as well. So before we get started with actually making the spread, I'm going to go through all the memorabilia I have and cut out the things that stand out to me. I rarely end up using everything that I cut out, but I like having my options laid out in advance so before I start making the spread so that I can more easily configure things on the page as I go. So I'm cutting out a few things from the pamphlets and everything. I just want to kind of show you certain things that draw my eye and that I think that I want to use in my journal. It's always very unique to your trip and to you, like which things you're going to pick to try to put in your spread. And like I said, I don't use all of this, but I just kind of wanted to show you what that process of cutting these out is like for me. Now, getting rid of all the scraps, and I'm kind of organizing the different elements into days because this is going to be a little bit more chronological than my past spreads, so having each one for each day in a pile really helps me. So now we're getting into the actual spread. Basically, the way that I do this is I start with the biggest elements and kind of work back to the smaller ones just to kind of see where things are going to go on the page. And then I'll go in and add some base elements like I'm writing the date here, I added some washi tape, and now I'm sticking the elements in. As you can see, there's not really a whole lot of rhyme or reason. It's kind of chaotic the way that I make these. I don't go in having a set vision really. I just kind of fill things in as they come to me. I like to add in more washi tape on the pictures, add some captions to things, and then I write a little bit about the day, and I like using the calligraphs to kind of highlight certain words that stick out to me or that are more important on the trip. And then I'm just filling things in with lettering, adding the actual date down at the bottom, and kind of highlighting some pictures. And that's basically what I do for this first page. This is all I had for day 1 in particular, so now we're going on to day 2. And like I said, this one's a lot more chronological than my past ones, and I kind of like that. This washi tape just worked perfectly with that Marshall circle that I have, so I really like how this page in particular came out. But again, just playing around with the elements, gluing them in as I see, trimming. And I do make adjustments sometimes. Sometimes I see something and I don't want it to go exactly where it was the first time, so don't be afraid to move stuff around if you don't like how it looks the first time. If there are a few things that you want on here that just aren't fitting, you can try trimming them a little bit more. Like I cut this picture out a little bit more just to kind of make it fit in that square up there. So don't be afraid to trim them down. They don't have to all be like perfect squares or circles if that's not what fits into the spread. And now I'm just filling in the space with some more writing about the day and highlighting some of the words that are more important. Since the pages in this are smaller, I am doing this full spread for day 2 as well, just to fit everything in that I want. And you can see I start with the larger elements to figure out where they're going to go, and I paste those in. And then after that, I kind of add in some decorations, some embellishment. I just fill in the space with whatever comes to me at the time, whether it's writing, more washi tape, maybe a doodle or illustration of some sort, or some stickers. So that's just the basic way that I go about all of these spreads. So now I'm going in to finish up day 2 with the second page of this spread. This one's mostly pictures and then also a sticker of the restaurant. So you can see I taped some washi tape down and then add in the pictures, add in a little bit of writing, an umbrella because it was raining, the sticker of the building, and then I kind of add in some writing about the day and this little board game that we played. So now you kind of get an idea of how chaotic it is for me to make these. I didn't film me doing the very last spread, but here is all of them completed. It's very chaotic, but it's so fun, and it's just such a great way to capture your trip in one glance. Like you can look at this and instantly remember your trip, and I think it's so cool, and I still look back on my ones from previous years. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you make your own version of this, make sure to check Archer and Olive and Planted on Instagram. Thanks!